Hey everybody, I'm back for video 147 of 365. I'm Samantha and I'm a therapist, and I'm creating a video every day for a year to get over my fear of public speaking and social anxiety. And today I wanted to talk about feeling our feelings and how some people have trouble actually feeling their feelings. So I thought we would talk about that. I've gotten some requests to help with this a bit, and I think it's very important because as far as manifestation goes, Neville Goddard said that feeling is the secret. And so feeling is very important in creating the life that we want, because when you're feeling something, you're creating your mental state. And that mental state is what is going to push out into our reality and manifest. So I wanted to talk about how there's kind of like three things that happen. We have in childhood, which is called like early defense. So it's when emotions were unsafe in childhood and the brain learns to disconnect. So if you were going through, even if you don't go through abuse and neglect, sometimes you can disconnect from your feelings. And it could just be like your brain, just as a kid, you could get scared for maybe seemingly no reason. Like it just wired into your mind that you should be scared. So then you shut down. And that's what some kids do, unless they're taught how to emotionally regulate correctly. And we don't really learn that, I don't remember talking about feelings too much in school. And I know like our parents probably didn't, teach us a lot because they didn't get taught that either. So it's just not a subject that we talk about very much, I don't feel like. But I feel like we should talk about it, especially with our little kiddos, because they're going to be our future. So we need to spread the word on how to emotionally regulate, which I'll be talking about that in upcoming videos too, because I think it's really important. So you've got your early defense, when emotions were unsafe to feel. So your brain learns to kind of disconnect, dissociate. It kind of goes somewhere else. You're there, but you're not there. Your body's there, but your brain is somewhere else. And then you've got the control mechanism, which would be staying numb, feels safer than being vulnerable. So you kind of numb out. You can't feel because you felt unsafe. So your brain just kind of did its thing and wired itself that way to kind of just disconnect and stay numb. I've heard a lot of people say they feel numb. So this is all learned from childhood. This is why I really love talking about this stuff, because if, everything stems from childhood, if we don't change it, then it's still affecting us today. So, which all of these things affect our belief systems, which affects how we think and feel and how we behave, which affects all of our relationships, our financial status, our jobs, our parenting, everything. So this is why it's so important to kind of know yourself. And okay, so then we've got burnout. Years of suppressing pain or living in survival mode can flatten all feelings, even good ones. So we've got defense, which is like disconnection. We've got control, which is staying numb. And we've got burnout, which is suppressing. So I think that's all I kind of wanted to, let's see. Yeah. So when you're taught that emotion equals danger, numbness becomes armor. So we end up kind of like putting on an armor around ourselves to protect us from being vulnerable. Because if you feel vulnerable, then you're not going to want to speak. Maybe you're going to shut down and not talk whenever you feel unsafe. Feeling unsafe is kind of like you just feel like you feel vulnerable, like somebody's going to take advantage of you. Some people even feel like they're going to die. I mean, that's literally how bad it feels. Some people might have gotten yelled at as a kid. So like if they get yelled at by their spouse or someone else, like a boss or something, they just shut down immediately. Like they don't know, like your brain floods with chemicals. So almost to the point where it literally shuts down. It goes into denial, or like denial of feeling anything, or totally dissociates, goes off somewhere else. So you're not really in your body. So, this is why I really like to do, like I do EMDR therapy with clients, which is eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy. So it's a long title, but it's basically where you can use bilateral stimulation, which is left brain, right brain, back and forth. We can do eye movements where you follow my fingers back and forth. You can take a pen to paper back and forth. You can tap your knees back and forth. You can kind of tap your shoulders like this back and forth. Things like that just get your brain, left and right brain working. And so that's why EMDR is so cool, because it gets you kind of into your body, drops you into your body. I always say, like, if you can't feel, you've left your body. You're not in your body anymore. You've jumped out. So we got to jump back into the body, and we've got to feel. And so a lot of times that feels scary to people. I think there's a lot of people that are scared of feeling. And again, Neville Goddard said, feeling is a secret. So it is very important that we feel, because if we aren't feeling, we don't know what state we're in. And so we're just living by default, which was programmed in childhood, again. And so we're living in survival. We're living in chaos. We're comfortable with it. We don't even know we're doing it. So we're not conscious of it. And so again, we're programmed by default. We're not doing anything with intention. So the more you can feel and the more you know yourself and where you're at mentally, you can make so many more better, healthier decisions versus living the same old way. It's kind of like living inside, they say think outside the box. Well, your comfort zone is the box. So like you're in the box, in your comfort zone, and you're stuck there if you're not feeling anything. It's like we got to start. And suppression was another thing. A lot of people are saying they suppress their emotions too during the day and their feelings. So that is I would call suppression like a stress response, basically. Like it's just you're stressed and then you just push the feelings down because you've learned to do that since childhood, yet again. It all starts in childhood. I really can't think of many things that have started later, unless there were, I don't know. I just feel like in childhood, we've learned how to cope and how to deal with the world as a child, because you're navigating your household, you're navigating, daycare, school, whatever, you were in. You're just learning the first few years of your life from your parents. Even in the womb, we're taking on our mother's stressors. So, it's a way to, like when we numb out, it's a way to survive. If you think about it that way, if you're suppressing emotion, it's a way to survive. We're just surviving the stress, basically. So the more we know that we're kind of stressed, the better off we're going to be. So if you can't feel your feelings, I would challenge you to think about, if you can't feel, which I have a feeling you can feel, it might not be like maybe you're feeling something, but it's not as like big as you think it should be, possibly. I don't know. This is where coaching is helpful. I do offer coaching if you're ever interested. There's a link below, but this is when one-on-one coaching is helpful because we can identify what the limiting beliefs are and all of this specific to your situation. But, I would challenge like what moves you? Like if you were to watch a movie, do you ever cry? Do you ever laugh? Anything that elicits an emotion of any kind, or a feeling of any kind, or an emotion in the body. So you want to watch your body, like what lights you up, what gets you excited. Think about like movies, songs, anything that is a stimulus that would cause a feeling or an emotion. And you want to figure out the feeling, and then you want to figure out where in my body do I feel this? And you can kind of tie them together. And that's kind of how we start to kind of almost like melt the frozen you. It's kind of like we're frozen. We're stuck in like fight or flight, freeze type of thing. Again, that probably started a long time ago, where you just learn to not feel, you have permission to feel today. If you didn't know that, you can give yourself permission. It's safe. You got to tell yourself it's safe to feel. It's okay to feel. And a lot of people will say, help me fix this. How do I fix this? So first I want you to say there's nothing to fix. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing to fix. You're already whole and complete. You're already perfect the way you are. There's nothing to fix. It's just, how do we get you connected to you again? That's what we're trying to do. How do we get you connected to you? Because something happened and it became a coping mechanism, a coping skill that your brain just learned to kind of do on its own. That's how I say smart, but you know, brains are kind of dumb. They just kind of do whatever unless we've done something with intention, but they kind of just do whatever. And so it shut down on you without you even knowing. You just learned how to do it. Or you had people around you that told you, stop crying, go to your room if you're going to cry, you know, which made you feel alone and lonely. And so then you learned like, oh, well, when I'm sad, I don't want to cry because then I'm going to feel lonely. It's that secondary feeling that you might not want to feel. So you got to watch, like, what was your programming? What were you told when you cried? What were you told when you got mad? And maybe you were told nothing. Maybe you saw other people around you getting mad and it scared you. So you decided, oh, I'm never getting mad. So now you don't get mad. Now you're just a people pleaser. When you really are feeling resentment inside your body, or feeling anger, or you're feeling rage, and those feelings, they get stuck, and then you have some physical issues a lot of times, or you know, mental anguish going on. Just relationship issues are like one of the biggest issues, because everything is a relationship, and especially with people, it can be difficult when you've got one person that does feel, and then you've got another person that shuts down. And I've been there and experienced this, and it's agonizing. I mean, it really is. It causes so many problems. So again, with relationships, we do not want to change the other person. We want to change ourselves. So that's why there's no one to change but self. There's nothing to change but self. And so it's very important to know thyself and master yourself. Start questioning, okay, if I don't feel my feelings, then let's start practicing feeling. There's so many things you can do. You can start with like grounding exercises. You could just sit here in a chair and take your shoes off, take your socks off, put your feet on the ground, feel the floor beneath you, feel the touch, you know, touch yourself, grab yourself, you know, feel your hands on your skin. Open and close your eyes. You know, you're seeing, you're using your 5 senses. Name some things that you can feel and see and taste and touch and smell. You know, get all your 5 senses going and see what comes up. Think about an old memory and then go into your body and say, where do I feel this? Did my stomach start to churn a little bit? Did I get butterflies in my stomach? Did my chest start to hurt? You know, there's all sorts of bodily sensations that can come up. So that I would start there maybe. I would get the body involved. There's so many other ways to do this, but I would kind of start there. Meditation is great. Again, I've got tons of meditations. I think there's 14 of them on my channel. They're in a playlist below. They should be below. Check those out. The main thing you want to do is check in with your body. Like, see what thoughts come up, and then go to your body immediately and scan yourself and say, okay, where do I feel that? Like, and then sometimes you can say, okay, what do I feel? And then you'll be able to feel the feeling and acknowledge what it is. You might cry. So that might be grief, or that might be sadness. You know, just acknowledge these things. You want to acknowledge and validate what you're feeling. And acknowledge and validate if you're not feeling as well. It's a practice. If you haven't felt feelings for a long time, or if you're used to, you know, going into survival mode and just like stuffing things down, you're going to want to tell yourself, like, this is a practice. We're developing a skill set here with the end goal of feeling better. That's it. You're just going to feel better. Because if you're suppressing, you're surviving the moment is what you're doing. And you learn to do that from somewhere. So you can relearn how to do, you know, things a little differently. That'll feel a lot better. So, and the main thing is you've got to want to change. Some people don't want to change. So you've got to determine, am I self-sabotaging because I'm scared to feel? That's another thing. Are you scared to feel? If you're a kid and it felt unsafe, you might feel unsafe today. So you've got to acknowledge that. And then you've got to say, what must be true about me if I'm not able to feel this thing? Like, what am I holding on to? What beliefs am I holding on to? Just like I said, maybe it's unsafe to feel. Well, why is it unsafe to feel? Where did that come from? And then if it came from a long time ago, well, then why is it unsafe to feel today? If I'm not back there, what's going on today? Is it just a habit, or is there a true reason to feel unsafe to feel today? So it's just like you're constantly exploring yourself, getting to know yourself, because I do hear a lot of people say they don't know themselves. So we just have to kind of tease all this out and figure out, look at the little layers here and figure out what resonates with you best. Because I can give 1,000 things to try. So this is where I thought I'd start with this today. I'd love for you to comment below and let me know if any of this helped or didn't help, or you want some more on this a little bit, because I could talk and talk and talk, but we might have to do like a little class on how to feel. We might have to do something like that, and I'll do a little bit better and more in depth. But just remember that you're feeling feelings all day long. You just might not be acknowledging them to slow down enough to actually acknowledge them and feel them. So there's a lot of suppression going on, I know, because we get so stressed throughout the day, and we've got all these stress chemicals going through the body and the brain all day, depending on the day. And so a lot of times that's what takes over. It just floods the mind, and you can't think straight. It's brain fog. And you're exhausted. And then by the time you're ready to identify feelings, it's like, I'm exhausted, I'm ready to go to bed. So it's a practice. It is definitely a practice to be observant of yourself throughout the day, to see where you're at. Like, where is my mental state? Because wherever your state is, that's what you're creating your life from. And that's what you're imagining from. So remember, you're imagining all day long. So you want to imagine what it would feel like if you already had what you're wanting, and then live from that end goal, that end scene that you can imagine in your mind, and you act as if you're already that person. That's really all you have to do. And but the problem is we imagine to the contrary most of the time, because we're so programmed to suppress our feelings, to numb out, and to shut down. And so therefore we're just staying the same, and we're not growing, we're not learning, we're in the box. We're in the comfort zone of mediocrity. We don't want to be there. We want to grow, we want to become big. We want to shine our light instead of dimming our light. So there's so many ways to get there. Just you got to slow your mind down and actually take the time to observe your thoughts. Your thoughts are not you whatsoever. They're programmed. So you've got to just observe, like, what is coming into, what's coming into this operating system today? Let me check this out. And then you can choose to create a new operating system, which is really cool. So we just do that step by step. You're just creating a new skill set here. And feeling is hard for some people. It just is. I didn't realize it was so hard, because I'm a feeler. I feel a lot. But it's great. I like it. I like that I'm sensitive. But I've suppressed in the past too. I know what that feels like too, and to numb some feelings. And that doesn't feel good either. So I love to feel like, if you can get like a feeling of peace, maybe start with one of my meditations. Maybe that'll help you. I mean, really, it might help get you started somewhere. You never know. You might cry with the bilateral stimulation. You can sometimes cry out of nowhere, and that's a good thing. That means you're releasing something, that maybe is pent up and been there for a while. So, but yeah, the more you relax the human brain down, you can start to let the higher mind come in and kind of help you and take over. Because that human brain has been programmed by so many other people and so many other lies, and it's just so, it's so unnecessary. We can be safe anytime we want to feel now. Back then, we might not have been, but now we can reprogram and say, yeah, it is safe to feel. It truly is safe to feel. And again, you're building a skill set. You're learning how to manifest properly. Everything you're imagining is going to project out. So I think it's really important to get a hold of your feelings and know, hey, this is what this is what I've got going on inside me. And this came from this belief system that I have that's been sitting there for so many years. And now I'm feeling this feeling. And this is creating my mental state, which is creating my whole outlook on my whole reality, my whole world. So yeah, it starts kind of at the root of like what you're telling yourself you are. Like, I am this is going to create a feeling in you. So you got to decide, what are you? I am amazing. I am lovable. I am important. I'm valuable. I'm priceless. Any of those types of things that you can say to yourself, those will start eliciting feelings as well. Because maybe you've been telling yourself the opposite of those things. So this is just a huge, someday I'd love to do like an interactive class about this stuff so I could hear what your thoughts are throughout this process. But I know this video was a little slower and, lots of just talk about feelings, really. But I just thought it was really important to talk about like how, shutting down and running, it's basically running from yourself is what's happening. And I think it's like fear of knowing the self, or fear of feeling in general, fear of losing control. That's another thing. I think a lot of people fear, being out of control. So, but what better thing to do than know yourself, know what your triggers are, know what your beliefs are, so that you feel safe and in control. You're in control when you are feeling your feelings, actually. And when you're able to identify and speak on them. So underneath like not being able to feel or feeling suppression is, I think, fear. And I think it's like fear of just being the true self. So if you can kind of take that in and think about that, I know I just dropped a lot on you. And so, but think about it, maybe listen to this again on 2 times. And take some notes, just kind of get in touch with yourself. Like, who am I? Who am I being? And get into your body. Getting into your body is one of the most important things. Do a body scan, head to toe. When you think of a thought, where do you feel it? Does it give you some sort of sensation in your body? That's a big thing to look at, especially if you've had physical or sexual abuse. There could be some things going on there that are kind of trapped in the body, if you will. Just sometimes we won't have we won't notice a feeling, but we'll notice an emotion in the body, that comes up. We might feel sick or like you're going to die. I mean, some people, like I said, they feel panic. They feel like they're going to die. So it's just important to see what your triggers are. Maybe take a log of all of these things over a week's time and look back at it, see what the patterns are. You just got to audit yourself, really shadow yourself daily. Like, what am I thinking? What am I believing? Check in with the body, do some breathing, just slow down. That would be my best advice too. Slow down. I'm a fast-paced person, and I always have been, and I've had to train myself to slow down. Oh my gosh. I used to talk fast, walk fast, I still do, but I've had to get really conscious of slowing down, dropping the shoulders down. That's another thing. Drop your shoulders. Make sure your jaw isn't tense. Check your body for tightness and tension, because if there's tightness and tension, you're probably suppressing an emotion as well. That's a good way to navigate some things too. So yeah, I hope this helped in some way. Please let me know if you need any more elaboration on any of this. This was not, again, I didn't really plan much here, but I can do better with certain areas if I need to. So let me know if you need extra, and I'll do another video on it. And we'll zero in on maybe some, precise issues that you're struggling with. Just let me know in the comments, and check out the meditations. Just get on one of those things and just lay down or sit up and relax your mind for a few minutes. Most of them are an hour long, but you don't have to listen to the whole thing. You can do 10 minutes and see how you like it. So there's a bunch of them on there. So yeah, thank you for watching. This is a little bit of a different video today. A little more relaxed, I feel. I feel relaxed. I'm a little tired today. So it's almost bedtime. So You guys take good care of yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back tomorrow. If this helped you, please share it with somebody that you might enjoy it or might need it. And oh my gosh, I forgot to mention, we hit 600 subscribers today. Thank you so much. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. But thank you. If you're still here watching, thank you. And thank you for subscribing. So appreciate you. We're getting there. So cool. So fun. And yes, I'll be back tomorrow. I'll see you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.